Hope you can hear me okay. Just watching some more people just jumping into the webinar now. Good afternoon. How is everyone? Hi Sue, good to see you. Can you hear me okay? Just want to make sure that everything is working. So it's been a little bit of a strange, oh great, thanks Sue. Been a bit of a strange registration process for this webinar because we're using a different webinar software and I hadn't realized how convoluted it was to actually get the link to join. I was hoping it was just click on a link and then you'd be here. So that means that I can see that there are a few people that are still just going through that process, getting their emails now. So we'll just wait a second for those if that's okay with you guys. In the meantime, just welcome you all here, say thank you very much for joining. And while we're just waiting for them, just to give you a bit of a brief outline that Kirmada has now been going for the best part of 6 months, and we launched in the States recently with very good reviews and some really encouraging comments. So I'm really excited to be able to tell you all about what Kirmada is and why this is the first web browser that is so good for virtual assistants. So virtual assistants, freelancers, and people generally who work in very small businesses on their own with multiple clients. One thing I will do is make a quick apology for the fact that I'm in what might look a bit like a prison cell. I hadn't realized when we arranged to do this webinar that I was on holiday when we were supposed to do this. So I'm coming to you from the kitchen in our apartment in Ibiza. So that's why it looks like it does. So this is me saying, oops, I'm really, really sorry, but we're in the sunshine. We're eating fabulous food, drinking wonderful wine, while you guys are possibly not enjoying such great weather. So if it's a bit echoey and a little bit, it looks a bit strange behind me, that is the reason why. It's my excuse and I am sticking to it. So we've got a few more people have popped into the room now. So why is Kirmada great for VAs? Well, the reason it's so good for VAs is if you've ever had a problem if you've got several clients, so let's say you've got 6 or 7 clients, and each one of those clients has multiple projects. You can be doing their inboxing for them, you could be doing travel arrangements, their bookkeeping, all sorts of different projects that you might have underway for a given client. And an awful lot of that work that you have to do, you're doing in a web browser. So you end up with hundreds of tabs open for all of those different projects, for all those different clients. And you spend an awful lot of time just trying to figure out what is what. And what we've done with Kirmada is we've taken this along and we've said what we want to do is clear that space up. So we're going to put all of those projects and all of those clients into their own workspaces. And what that means is inside a workspace, it can be a very, very clean and clutter-free interface for your project, but also bring in extra tools like automatic timesheets. We can keep all of the files that belong to that workspace in that place so that everything is easily to hand and ready to find. We can share those workspaces with team members. We can even have shared calendars inside the workspace that belong to a client or just to that project. So what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen with you. Just give me a second and show you what Kirmada looks like when you're running it. So this is Kirmada set up with some demonstration workspaces. So each one of these cards here is a workspace. We've got a project for Kirmada marketing, and these are our clients, for example. So we'd have Sunrise Media, CDL, Oyen, etc. And what we have with these is each one of these workspaces is a separate web browser. So if I click into Sunrise Media, for example, the first thing that you see is we've got a web browser and we've got the tabs open across the top as you would have on any web browser. This is exactly where I left it. So everything remembers where I was. And all I have to do if I want to shift my focus to a different client is go back to the home page, choose a different workspace, and now the entire web browser has changed across the top. So this is like the profiles on steroids. What we've actually got here are completely contained web browsers for different clients or different projects. And that means all the passwords are separated, all the cookie history, everything is completely separate, which means you have no cross-contamination. And that means working in these workspaces is really, really easy because you don't have to have hundreds of tabs across the top. All the bookmarks are completely workspace independent as well. So it's like having a completely different world for each client. And if you notice across the top of the screen here, I don't know if you can see the clock that's automatically ticking up. And that clock is actually recording to our timesheet for this client automatically. So as soon as I go into a workspace, the timesheets have started, they've noticed that we're doing the work, and they've started putting an entry in for us. And what that means is, rather than having to go to your timesheet software and pressing start and stop on the clock, as soon as you go into one of these workspaces, the clock starts. It knows that you're doing some work for that client, and it's just taking care of it for you. And what I'm able to do, for example, if let's say I've come into Sunrise Media because I've taken a phone call from one of their staff, and I can add a note to a timesheet and say what it is that I want to do here. So, for example, I took a call. Hit caps lock, sorry. Call from John. And I can put that down to a specific category, or I can give it a project name, save that. And now everything that's happening inside this block of time that I'm spending in this workspace now is going into the timesheet. It's being recorded accurately to the second, and it's doing that against a task or a category, a phone call. And I can easily see those things when I come back out to the workspaces. I can click on Show Timers, and what Show Timers does is it's going to show me the billing summary of where I am at the moment with this client. So you can see that today I've spent 3 hours and 4 minutes with this client. This month it's 17 hours and 47 minutes. And this team card on the right-hand side, we'll come back to this later. This is how much time our team has spent with this client. And for each client, I can set an hourly rate. And if I charge them on a retainer, or if there's a budget for this client, I can put that here. And then these pie charts show me where I am in that billing cycle. So, for example, with a retainer value of £1,250 a month, I can see that I'm 71% into that retainer so far. And that will change colors when it starts getting dangerous. So you can see over here on Vibrant Printers, we have, sorry, no, I'm looking at the wrong one. So Onion, it's 23 hours and 20 minutes. And if I go into their timer, so I've gone in the long way around. Oh, crikey, hang on, let me start that again. If I go into their timer, you can see that it's warning me that I'm getting very, very close to the billing maximum. So 93% of the retainer is almost done. And where this comes in really incredibly handy is, especially when you're working for yourself and when you've got a small agency or you're a freelancer, quite often you will get interrupted several times a day from different clients. And so much of that time goes unrecorded. If you spend 10 minutes on the phone with them, and then that may lead to another 20 minutes worth of work a little bit later in the day when you made a note, and you go back to it later in the day. And that generally goes unrecorded a lot of the time. And the temptation is to give that time away, which is completely wrong. When your entire business relies on you billing for your time, giving time away as freebies. I mean, it's great as a bit of PR for a new client, or for, a little bit of goodwill. But when it becomes the habit, and that's what you do, and that becomes what's expected, you'll be surprised how much time you're actually giving away each month, and how much that's costing you. And to give you an example, the first time when we got Kirmada up and running, the first time I used it, I used to be a web designer. I had a small web design agency. And this was specifically the reason that we designed Kirmada, was to come up with a solution to this problem. And the very first month I used it in the web agency, it caught an extra £800 worth of billing that would have otherwise gone completely missed. So it was £800 worth of these innocuous requests from clients to just quickly look at something and quickly deal with something. That multiplied over a year, you know, I mean, we're talking serious money. We're talking almost £10,000 of lost revenue in a year if that first month was typical. And to be completely honest, we weren't able to just go and bill that £800. We were able to bill, I think, £300 of it, or just £350, or something like that. The rest of it, we were able to take to the client and say, look, your retainer for support is worth, you know, whatever it was. But you can see that you're using an extra 2 or 3 hours a month on a regular basis. And, you know, it allowed us to negotiate with them and say, we either need to draw a boundary here and say you can't keep using this time for free, or we need to renegotiate the retainer that you're on and put a higher value on it. With that client, they actually opted to have a boundary. They didn't want to spend any more. And what that meant was we freed up our time to bring in more client work. So either way you look at it, whether you're able to bill the client for this extra work, or if you're just able to use it as a negotiating tool to limit the amount of hours that you're doing for free, or bring in new clients, it's a win-win. Yeah, and Kirmada is the only tool that we've seen that does this so accurately. You know, it's just as easy to forget to start and stop timers on timesheet software as it is to forget that you've actually done that work in the first place. So with the way Kirmada does this, it's automatically always recording all of the time that you're spending with the client, so you don't miss a minute. Going back into this one where I've actually put a block of time for the phone call, if we view a summary, we can actually see, sorry, that's not the correct summary, that's the summary of all our clients. If I go into the activity log for this client, so each one of these buttons here shows you the detailed timesheet for the client. And you can see that here, down here, I took a call from John, and that was for 1 minute exactly. So anytime that I then do some extra work for John that's related to this phone call, I can just right click in the browser and add a note to a timesheet and add it to this, you know, add the annotated notes so that I've got this at the end of the month for the client. All of the timesheets can be exported to a spreadsheet, so you can have the complete billing report at the end of the month. And the button that I accidentally pressed, the view summary, shows me where each of my clients is in terms of billing value this month, and the hours spent, and retainer budgets, etc. So you get full transparency over what you're doing with the clients and how much time you're spending with them. But it's not just about timesheets and work in the workspaces. We've also got some extra tools in here that make sense to keep under a client. So for example, each client has its own calendar. So you can put in, you know, the meetings, or you can create tasks and notes in here, and the tasks you can put a time limit on, etc. So it reminds you when you've got to do a task by. But built into this calendar also is social media posting. So I'll go out to our Kirmada marketing one, actually, for this one, to show you the calendar here. So you can see the calendar here has a lot of our social media posts. We're able to create posts in advance, you know, days, weeks, months in advance, and schedule them onto the calendar so that we've got evergreen content that's always going out. And to create a post, I can literally put in a title saying that this is a test post. I can put my post here, and then I can attach media to this. So I will take this pretty picture here, attach that. And the internet's a little bit slow out here, so it takes a little bit of time for this to refresh. But what this will then show me is I can publish this now, or I can save it as a draft, or I can schedule this for specific dates in the future. So I can do, you know, I can say that I want to post this later on today at 14:14. And I'm going to repeat that post daily until further notice, or I can do weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever I want to do. So this is a great way, particularly for events that you know that are coming up. So if you want to have posts for you know, Easter holidays, Christmas holidays, Valentine's Day, etc., you can create all of those posts, months in advance and just let it do them for you. So if you're managing your social media for any of your clients, each of your clients gets one of these calendars, so it keeps completely separate, and you're able to do their calendar and their rota independent of anything else. But even if you don't do social media for your clients, you obviously do social media for yourself, so you can create a workspace for yourself and do your own social media posting from here. And you can also have different social media accounts for personal and business. So if you created a workspace that had all of your business social media in there, you can also create another workspace that's got your personal social media in there, and keep those two things always logged in and always working, and you can schedule your posts in advance. When you're creating these posts, you can choose which social media channels you want to post this to. So if I said I want to post this to Facebook and Instagram, I can just select those two. And then I can preview this and see what the post is going to look like. This is what it will look like on Instagram with my text down here, my image up there. And on Facebook, it's going to look very, very similar, except the text is at the top. So I can see a preview of the text, make sure that it looks right. It'll come up with a warning if I go over any character limits for the chosen social media channels. So it does all of these things. It makes it very easy to have all of your social media worked out, days in advance. What we often do at Kirmada is we'll sit there on a Monday and we'll go through what we're going to do for the rest of the week and get that calendar filled out for the rest of the week. And it means that you can just, you can get the majority of the work done, the stuff that you just need to have done on a consistent level. It means you can take care of it all very, very easily. Another thing inside here, just to briefly push on, is an inbox where this will collate all of your incoming messages into one place so that you can reply to them. So if you're getting messages from Instagram and Facebook or, and on X, whatever, then you'll see the messages coming in here and you can just reply to them. So you don't have to then go out to each individual platform and log in and reply to them there. It all takes care of it here. You saw that I just attached some media to that post. And that brings me to the resource library. This is online cloud storage where every time you create a workspace, it creates a folder on the cloud for it. And then underneath Kirmada Marketing, you can see that we've created all of these folders and we've got all of these files here. And it works very much the same way as Dropbox or OneDrive works. So it's cloud storage, but where this is different from other cloud storage is it's all nested inside the workspace. So when you go into the workspace, you've got the web browser that belongs to that client. You've got the calendar that belongs to that client, the social media that belongs to that client, and you've got all their files in one place too. So you haven't got to go hunting around in different files on your desktop or on your laptop, or find them on the cloud. Everything that you need for a client or a project, you can literally keep inside the workspace. So it makes working on these workspaces really easy. And where this really all comes into its, well, it's already come into its own by the fact that it's so easy to manage. But the final piece of this puzzle at the moment is the fact that we can create a team, or we can invite any team to any of these workspaces. So if you work with creators, so maybe you work with a copywriter or a web designer or somebody just, maybe even just for a project, they're not part of a longer term team, you can create a workspace, put the assets in there. Oh, somebody else is trying to use this account. Sorry, I need to kick them off. Sorry about that. Anybody who is using, that you need to have using a workspace with you, you can literally just invite them by email. So you add a team, you put their email addresses in here, and then you can even opt to share passwords with them. The people that you invite will, when they accept the invitation, the workspace will appear on their desktop like it does here, and you can see the members of the team here. The big advantage of this is that not only do they get access to the calendar and the files without you having to share anything else, but also if I go into Sunrise Media here, if I want to share, let's say this website here, which nice, bright and sunny like it was here this morning in Ibiza. If I want to share this with the rest of the team, if this is one of the key URLs for this client, I can right click on this and say I want to save this to stickies, which is the second option down on the tab. And what will happen here is this icon here, this website gets added to the left navigation bar. And this left navigation bar is shared with everyone in the team. So everyone will instantly see that icon appear on their left navigation bar. And it means that they get access to the key resources immediately. You don't have to say, you don't have to individually share the websites and the logins with them for each of the client resources. You just put them on the left navigation bar and then they have it. And when we created that team, if you had actually said that you wanted to share password credentials with them, if this was a password protected site, then the password field would automatically be filled in as soon as they visit the site. So it means that, if you've got one account that you want to share with other people in the team, then that's really easy to do. You do have to be very careful with that, obviously, because if you want to restrict how many resources people in a team actually have, you're better off splitting that into separate workspaces so that each person is only getting, so each team gets exactly the credentials they need and no more. If I want to share this tab with a specific member of the team, just as a as a note of interest, I can say share this tab with, and then I'd have a list of all the team members down here, and then I can add a note to this tab, and that tab instantly appears in their workspace with a note attached to it, so they can see why I've shared it with them. And likewise, I can send any of these tabs to different workspaces. So if I'm working in a workspace and I think actually I should be in a different workspace with this website, or this would be useful in a different workspace, I don't have to copy and paste and go to the different workspaces. I can literally just share that and send that over to the other workspace. So all of these workspaces, they're shareable, they're aware of each other to the point where they can communicate with each other, but they don't share any resources with each other. So they are completely independent, living in their own silos. And that sort of brings us to the end of what Kirmada is doing at the moment. There's a lot more coming in Kirmada. What we're aiming to do with this is make this the one piece of software that you'll go into as a VA every single day, where you will manage all of your clients and your teams. And literally to start a new client or just a project, you add a workspace, give it a name, and that's it. That's all you need to do. And that will create a new workspace on your desktop. So you can use these as throwaways even. So, on my own personal account, I have lots of different projects for the different things that we're doing in Kirmada. So things like, the software development, the Kirmada marketing, we do, problem management, etc. I've got different workspaces for all of those different projects. And I've also got different workspaces for my own personal things. So I've got workspace for my travel. I've got a workspace I even had a workspace for my Christmas shopping, workspaces for any hobby that you've got, and you just put them there. And you may not need all the resources that the workspace has, like the timesheets, etc. But having everything that you need in one place just makes it so much easier to keep what's important to hand and keep it instantly available. So as soon as you go into a workspace, you've got what you need and what you came in there for. And you're able to then pick up work from where you left off so much more easily than you are before. Interruptions, you literally you get interrupted by one client, go and see what they need, and then go back to the work that you were doing before they called, and you pick up instantly from where you left off. And that is one of the beauties of Kirmada, is that it really helps you not only focus on your work, but it does makes you so much more productive. And through the power of the way we do the timesheets, it's unlikely not to make your business more profitable too. I mean, we haven't heard of anyone yet who hasn't made the money back on their subscription simply through the timesheets. And often it's hundreds or thousands of pounds a year that they're able to recover in lost revenue. So that's Kirmada. I'm going to stop sharing this for a second, and you got my ugly face on screen, I'm afraid. So any questions? I'll just go back to the slides for a second. I'm not. Again, I apologise. This is my first time using this software, so I am having great fun with it. So this is some of the things that people have been saying that who have been using Kirmada for the last few months. I'll let you read through those, but the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. The way that it segments tasks has just been, really well received, and yeah, it's a lifesaver. Absolutely loving it from CDG virtual assistants. And so this is where we are at the moment. Do we have any questions? Is Rick online? I will, because I'm afraid I can't see any questions here at the moment. I put in that in the comments at the top that Rick will be answering questions, but I can't see if he's here or not. So let me just click around, see if I can see any questions. Oh yeah, Debbie, is there customer service help with any queries? Yes, of course. There are, on the website, there is a help page, which I know lots of people don't like it, but it's got an AI chatbot, which does have an answer to a lot of questions. But if it doesn't answer your questions, simply sending an email through the help page comes directly to one of the team. And we're able to respond to it usually within hours, if not minutes. So yes, there's plenty of support there for you if you need it. So when a team member is added to a workspace, are the client billing details kept private? Very, very good question. Yes, I didn't point that out. If you add team members to your workspace, all the work that they do gets added to your timesheet. So if you invite me to do some work for you and I spend 10 hours this month, then you will get the billing information for that. And I can't see it. All I can see is my own contribution. I can see that I've done 10 hours, but I can't see what you're billing me out for. I can't see what your budget is, and I can't see any of the client billing for a workspace that belongs to you. So the person who creates the workspace has admin rights over it. You can assign other people to be admin, and then they will have those rights as well. But by default, there's only one admin, and that's the team owner or the workspace owner. So it's really easy. You can share these teams with other people. And when you're done with those teams, you just delete the workspace, and that workspace is finished, and that project's finished, and it's all gone. And you can bring those deleted workspaces back. So if you've got projects that are seasonal, then you can archive them, send them off, and then when you want to resume them next season, you can just bring them back again. And that's a way of decluttering your desktop. How many team members can you share with? It's unlimited. Thanks, Sue. So you can share with as many people as you like. I would say a caveat on that is because you can share the resources like passwords on there, you want to keep it's better to keep the teams smaller if you're going to be sharing passwords, so that you can make sure that everyone on there always has access to what they need to have and nothing more. But workspaces, you can have as many workspaces as you want. You can do searches on workspaces as well. Typing at the top where the search bar is, you start typing in the characters of a workspace name, and it will just show you those workspaces. So you can, even if you've got 30 or 40 workspaces, it's really easy to filter and sort them, and you can drag and drop them into any order you want as well. So it's very easy to do that. Sorry, Sue, you asked what are stickies? Stickies are websites that are really important to that workspace. So if, for instance, you handle a Gmail inbox for your client, then you can make that sticky, and it appears on the left-hand navigation bar. So the left-hand bar down the side of the screen, it appears there. So anytime that you then want to go into the inbox, it's always on the left-hand side. And by doing that, you simply, that becomes shareable with the team if you have a team involved. So anybody can see all of the icons down the left-hand side, basically. So it makes it the really important resources for that client are always to hand. And where do you sign up? Oh, Sue, perfect. Great question. Thank you, Sue. Go to, I'll show you the next slide, go to Kirmada.com. There's a button at the top that says try it for free. So just click up there. And if you click up there, you can try Kirmada free for 30 days. You don't need to put a credit card number in there. You can just download it, install it on your PC, Mac or Linux machine. And then just use it for 30 days, completely unlimited. So you can get a good chance to try it. If you then decide that you want to run with it, and I really hope you do, there is, as a thank you for joining this webinar, a checkout code here, 33, so that's 30 THREE in capitals, and that will give you 30% off for